Some people believe that the upper class notices your clothes first. Others believe they notice the car you drive, the watch you wear, or the brand name stitched across your jacket. But life has a quiet way of revealing a deeper truth. The people who have spent years around excellence often don't measure others by what they own. They measure them by how they move through the world. They watch the moments most people ignore, the pause before you speak, the way you treat someone who cannot benefit you, the patience you show when nobody is watching, the respect you offer without expecting applause. These are the silent signals that speak long before your words ever do. The world has trained us to chase appearances. We polish the outside and hope the inside will somehow catch up. We spend hours building an image while neglecting the habits that truly define us. Yet every meaningful relationship, every great opportunity, and every lasting impression is built on behaviors so small that most people never think twice about them. These habits cannot be bought. They cannot be borrowed. They cannot be faked for very long. They grow from character, from discipline, and from the choices you make every single day. There is something powerful about a person who understands that greatness whispers instead of shouting. Such a person does not need to announce their worth because their actions carry that message naturally. Their confidence is calm. Their presence is steadied. Their respect for others is effortless. They understand that class has never been about privilege alone. It has always been about the way you carry yourself when no one owes you attention. Today, we're going to uncover 10 small behaviors that people with refined standards often notice immediately. These are not secrets reserved for a privileged few. They are timeless qualities that anyone can develop with intention, humility, and practice. If you pay close attention, you may discover that the smallest changes in your behavior can transform the way the world responds to you, opening doors that force alone could never unlock. The smallest behaviors often reveal the deepest truths about a person. Long before anyone learns your achievements, your education, or the balance in your bank account, they begin forming opinions based on the little things you do without thinking. These moments seem insignificant because they happen so naturally, yet they create an impression that is difficult to erase. A person who pays attention to details understands that character is rarely displayed in grand performances. Instead, it appears in ordinary moments that most people overlook. The way you greet someone when entering a room, the patience you show while waiting, the respect you give to a stranger, and the care with which you choose your words all become silent reflections of who you truly are. These actions require no wealth, no special talent, and no public recognition. They simply require awareness. Many people spend years trying to look successful while ignoring the habits that actually earn respect. They believe confidence comes from speaking the loudest or proving themselves at every opportunity. Yet those who have experienced true excellence often recognize something different. They notice the person who listens before speaking. They notice the individual who remains calm when others become emotional. They notice someone who says thank you with sincerity instead of treating kindness as an expectation. These behaviors may last only a few seconds, but they communicate maturity, self-control, and emotional intelligence more effectively than any expensive possession ever could. Character has a way of revealing itself when there is nothing to gain. It is easy to be polite when an important client is watching or when a reward is expected. The real test appears in moments when nobody seems to notice. How do you respond to a waiter after receiving your meal? How do you react when someone accidentally interrupts you? Do you return a smile, hold a door open, or acknowledge the efforts of people whose names others often forget? These ordinary choices quietly shape the reputation that follows you into every room. People may forget your exact words, but they rarely forget how your behavior made them feel. There is also wisdom in understanding that every small action is connected to a larger habit. A person who arrives on time usually respects other people's time as much as their own. Someone who keeps promises, even the smallest ones, demonstrates reliability in bigger responsibilities. A person who avoids unnecessary gossip often protects trust in every relationship. None of these habits develop overnight. They are formed through repeated decisions that become part of your identity. Eventually, they stop feeling like effort and begin reflecting your natural character. The most respected individuals rarely try to impress everyone they meet. Instead, they focus on becoming the kind of person whose behavior remains consistent regardless of the situation. Whether they are speaking to a leader, a colleague, or a stranger, their respect does not change because it comes from principle rather than convenience. They understand that integrity is not measured by what happens on a stage, but by what happens in everyday life. This quiet consistency creates a sense of trust that cannot be manufactured. It tells people that your values are stable, your intentions are genuine, and your actions are guided by something deeper than appearances. In a world where many chase attention through loud words and dramatic gestures, the person who masters these small behaviors often leaves the strongest and most lasting impression on everyone they encounter. Respect is one of the rare qualities that cannot be purchased, borrowed, or displayed through luxury. It is reflected in the way a person treats others, especially during the ordinary moments that seem too small to matter. People who have spent years around refinement often recognize that genuine respect is not reserved for influential individuals alone. It extends to everyone, regardless of their position, appearance, or background. The way you greet a receptionist, thank a server, respond to a cleaner, or acknowledge someone who cannot offer you anything in return reveals far more about your character than any introduction ever could. These quiet interactions speak a language that requires no explanation, and those who understand that language notice it immediately. Many people mistake respect for politeness performed only when it is convenient. They become courteous in front of important guests, but impatient with those they consider less significant. This inconsistency rarely goes unnoticed. True respect remains the same whether the room is full of influential people or completely empty. It is a reflection of values rather than circumstances. A person who carries themselves with grace understands that every individual deserves dignity. They do not interrupt simply to prove a point. They avoid speaking over others to satisfy their own ego, and they choose words that build understanding instead of creating unnecessary conflict. Their calm presence allows conversations to become meaningful because people feel heard rather than judged. Patience is another form of respect that often separates thoughtful individuals from careless ones. Waiting in a queue, listening to someone finish their sentence, or allowing another person the time to express themselves. This may seem like ordinary moments, yet they demonstrate emotional discipline. Impatience often reveals a belief that one's own time is more valuable than everyone else's. In contrast, patience communicates confidence, maturity, and consideration. It shows that you are secure enough not to rush every interaction or demand constant attention. Those who observe carefully understand that a patient person is often someone who values people more than convenience. Awareness also plays an important role in everyday respect. Paying attention to the atmosphere around you, noticing when someone needs assistance, lowering your voice in shared spaces, or expressing gratitude without being reminded are all signs of emotional intelligence. These actions require no special effort beyond the willingness to consider others before yourself. They create an environment where people feel comfortable, appreciated, and valued. Individuals who practice this level of awareness rarely seek recognition for it, because kindness performed for applause loses much of its authenticity. Instead, they act thoughtfully, because consideration has become part of who they are. One of the strongest demonstrations of respect is the ability to remain composed when disagreements arise. Anyone can be kind when everything is going well, but genuine character appears when opinions differ, mistakes happen, or emotions become intense. Choosing not to insult, mock, or humiliate another person requires strength that many people overlook. It reflects self-control and confidence rather than weakness. Those who respond with dignity during difficult conversations earn admiration because they understand that protecting another person's dignity never diminishes their own. They recognize that winning an argument is far less valuable than preserving respect. Everyday respect is not a grand performance designed to impress others. It is built through countless small decisions that become habits over time. Holding yourself accountable, showing gratitude without expectation, listening with genuine interest, honoring commitments, and treating every person with fairness create a reputation that speaks before you do. These quiet expressions of courtesy form the foundation of trust, allowing others to see not only what you can accomplish, but also the kind of human being you choose to become through the simplest actions of daily life. Real confidence is rarely loud. It does not demand attention, seek constant approval, or depend on the opinions of others to feel valuable. Instead, it reveals itself through calm behavior, thoughtful decisions, and a quiet sense of self-assurance that remains steady regardless of the circumstances. Many people confuse confidence with being the loudest person in the room, believing that speaking over others, boasting about achievements, or constantly proving their worth makes them appear strong. In reality, these behaviors often reflect insecurity rather than confidence. Those who truly understand success recognize that a person who is comfortable with themselves has little need to convince everyone else of their importance. There is a noticeable difference between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance seeks recognition, while confidence seeks purpose. An arrogant individual often dominates conversations, interrupts others, and turns every discussion into an opportunity to display knowledge. A confident person, however, knows that listening is just as powerful as speaking. They understand that every conversation offers a chance to learn something new. Because they are not afraid of appearing uninformed, they ask thoughtful questions instead of pretending to have every answer. This willingness to learn reflects strength, not weakness, and people with refined judgment recognize this quality almost immediately. Quiet confidence also appears in the way a person handles challenges and criticism. Someone who believes in their abilities does not become defensive every time they receive feedback. Instead, they evaluate the advice, accept what is useful, and continue moving forward without allowing their emotions to control their actions. They understand that mistakes are opportunities for growth rather than evidence of failure. This mindset allows them to remain composed during difficult situations while others become overwhelmed by fear or frustration. Their calmness creates a sense of stability that naturally earns respect because people trust those who can remain balanced under pressure. Body language often communicates confidence before a single word is spoken. Standing with good posture, maintaining respectful eye contact, offering a genuine smile, and speaking at a measured pace all reflect inner security. There is no rush to impress, no desperate attempt to dominate the room, and no need to exaggerate accomplishments. Every movement appears intentional because confidence comes from knowing one's values rather than seeking validation. Even silence becomes a source of strength. A confident person is comfortable allowing moments of quiet because they do not feel pressured to fill every pause with unnecessary words. Another sign of quiet confidence is the ability to celebrate the success of others without feeling threatened. Insecure individuals often compare themselves constantly, believing that another person's achievements somehow reduce their own value. Confident individuals understand that success is not limited. They congratulate others sincerely, encourage growth, and appreciate excellence wherever they see it. Their self-worth is not dependent on being better than everyone else, but on becoming better than they were yesterday. This attitude creates meaningful relationships because people naturally gravitate toward those who inspire rather than compete with unnecessary pride. Confidence is also reflected in consistency. A person who believes in their principles does not change their personality to fit every crowd or seek acceptance by pretending to be someone they are not. They remain respectful in every environment, speak honestly without being cruel, and make decisions based on values instead of popularity. Their actions align with their words, creating a reputation built on authenticity rather than performance. This quiet strength cannot be manufactured through expensive clothing, impressive titles, or carefully crafted appearances because it grows from self-discipline, integrity, and a deep understanding that true confidence begins within and is expressed through calm actions that leave a lasting impression without ever demanding the spotlight. Discipline is one of the first qualities that reveals itself, even before success becomes visible. Long before someone achieves remarkable goals, earns recognition, or reaches positions of influence, their daily habits quietly announce the direction of their light. Many people admire the results they see in others, but overlook the routines and sacrifices that produce those results. They notice the confidence, the accomplishments, and the respect a person receives, without recognizing that all of these are often built upon countless ordinary decisions repeated with consistency. People who understand excellence know that discipline is not something you display only during important moments. It is reflected in the small choices you make every day, especially when no one is watching. One of the clearest signs of discipline is punctuality. Arriving on time is more than a matter of keeping a schedule. It communicates respect for other people's time and demonstrates that your commitments matter to you. A person who consistently arrives late often sends the message that their priorities outweigh everyone else's, even if that is not their intention. On the other hand, someone who values punctuality shows reliability, preparation, and consideration. They understand that trust is built through consistency, and being dependable in small matters creates confidence in their ability to handle larger responsibilities. Discipline is also reflected in the ability to finish what has been started. Many people begin projects with excitement, but lose motivation when challenges appear. They rely on temporary emotions to guide their actions, and when enthusiasm fades, so does their commitment. Disciplined individuals understand that motivation comes and goes, but responsibility remains. They continue working even when the task becomes difficult, repetitive, or unnoticed. Their progress is not driven by inspiration alone, but by the decision to honor their commitments regardless of how they feel on a particular day. This quiet persistence often separates those who dream about success from those who eventually achieve it. Self-control is another powerful expression of discipline. Every day presents opportunities to react emotionally, make impulsive decisions, or choose comfort over growth. A disciplined person learns to pause before responding. They think before speaking, manage frustration with patience, and avoid making choices that provide temporary satisfaction at the cost of long-term progress. This ability to control emotions rather than being controlled by them creates stability in both personal and professional relationships. People naturally place greater trust in individuals who remain composed during pressure because consistency under stress demonstrates maturity and strength. Another important aspect of discipline is attention to detail. People who take pride in their work rarely settle for carelessness. Whether they are writing an email, completing a simple task, organizing their workspace, or preparing for a meeting, they approach each responsibility with focus and intention. They understand that excellence is not achieved through occasional extraordinary effort, but through repeated ordinary effort performed with care. Small details may seem insignificant in isolation, yet together they create a reputation for quality and reliability that others quickly recognize. Perhaps the greatest strength of discipline is that it shapes identity over time. Every positive habit repeated consistently becomes part of who you are. The decision to wake up early, honor your promises, keep learning, remain organized, and follow through on responsibilities gradually transforms your character. These habits become visible to others long before major achievements appear. People with refined judgment often recognize this pattern immediately because they know that lasting success is rarely accidental. It grows from disciplined actions repeated day after day, creating a foundation of reliability, integrity, and quiet excellence that earns respect not through dramatic displays, but through unwavering consistency in the smallest responsibilities of everyday life. Many people spend their lives believing that class is something money can buy. They assume that expensive clothes, luxury cars, exclusive memberships, and impressive homes automatically place someone above others. While these things may create an image of wealth, they do not create the character that defines true class. A refined mindset cannot be purchased because it is built through values, habits, and the way a person chooses to treat the world around them. Someone with modest resources can possess remarkable grace, while someone surrounded by luxury can still lack humility, kindness, and integrity. The difference lies not in what a person owns, but in the principles they carry every day. True class begins with humility. A person who understands their own worth does not feel the need to constantly remind others of it. They do not measure their value by comparing themselves to those around them, nor do they seek admiration by displaying their possessions. Instead, they allow their actions to speak on their behalf. They remain approachable regardless of their achievements, recognizing that every individual deserves respect. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less often. This quiet confidence creates an atmosphere where people feel comfortable, appreciated, and valued rather than judged or intimidated. Another sign of a refined mindset is generosity. This generosity is not limited to money. It includes giving time, attention, encouragement, patience, and understanding. Truly classy individuals are generous with compliments, quick to express gratitude, and willing to support others without expecting recognition. They celebrate another person's success without jealousy, because they understand that someone else's victory does not diminish their own potential. Their mindset is based on abundance rather than scarcity. They believe there is enough opportunity, respect, and success for everyone willing to earn it through honest effort. Emotional maturity is another quality that separates genuine class from superficial appearances. Every person experiences disappointment, criticism, and conflict, but not everyone responds with wisdom. Individuals with a refined mindset do not allow temporary emotions to dictate permanent decisions. They choose thoughtful responses instead of impulsive reactions. They avoid gossip because they understand that speaking negatively about others often says more about the speaker than the subject. They know when to remain silent, when to forgive, and when to walk away from unnecessary arguments. This level of self-control reflects inner strength that no amount of wealth can replace. A classy mindset also values lifelong learning. Such individuals never believe they have reached a point where growth is no longer necessary. They remain curious, open to new ideas and willing to admit when they are wrong. Instead of pretending to know everything, they seek knowledge with genuine enthusiasm. This willingness to keep learning allows them to adapt, improve, and remain humble despite their accomplishments. They understand that wisdom is not measured by how much a person speaks, but by how much they continue to learn throughout life. Perhaps the most defining characteristic of true class is authenticity. People with genuine refinement do not create different personalities for different audiences. Their honesty, kindness, and integrity remain consistent whether they are surrounded by influential leaders, close friends, or complete strangers. They do not chase status symbols to gain acceptance because their confidence comes from living according to their values rather than public approval. Their reputation grows naturally through dependable actions, respectful relationships, and quiet integrity. Over time, others come to recognize that their greatest strength has never been the possessions they accumulated, but the character they protected, the principles they honored, and the values they refused to compromise, regardless of changing circumstances.